Welcome back to the Sort of Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sort of Truth series with a C full of craft brew on the side.
That is like the best sea ever.
Fuck yeah. I want to go.
If we were going to be pirates on any sea, it should be that one.
Plus, I think you can, like, float better because of the yeast.
Yeah,
or maybe I have that backwards. Maybe you sink faster.
I'd be willing to try.
Hey, if we're going down together.
Damn right.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Jade, and we are getting introduced to Chapter 49 of Stone of Tears today. So, this chapter starts out with Richard and Verna heading towards a large city on their horses after they left the Bakaban Mana.
Yes. Yep. Out of Bakaban Mana territory. They've been being guided for 2 days. And it says these guys don't talk much, but it's only after Richard had to make them stop bowing down and being like, you're so fucking awesome. You're so fucking awesome. Did they settle down?
Yeah. Which would be annoying as hell.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Seriously, dude, just which way? Please? Just which way?
I feel kind of bad about killing all of your, countrymen, so could you not keep congratulating me over that?
Tell me how awesome I am? Yeah, super good job.
So this city is divided by a river with a half on each side of the river. There's not really half and half. One side is, much larger than the other side. But at the mouth of this river are ships moored in the sea. And some of them are giant-ass ships with, 3 masts.
Yeah, 3 masters. Galleon.
Yeah, and Richard is like, what the fuck? He's never even... I think he's seen, little fishing boats and stuff, but he's never been to a sea, so there's been no reason for giant-ass boats like that.
Right. It hadn't occurred to me when this scene happened that Richard had never seen a ship like that. I figured it was just common knowledge. Yeah, there's going to be big boats and stuff, but if you live your entire life away from the ocean, you can make your money nowhere near an ocean, then no, you wouldn't have ever seen that. You have everything you need to survive in town.
And there's nowhere else to go, as far as you know. That's the end of the world. Also, I guess...
you'll just fall right off if you go any further.
I think it's a little bit confusing because you imagine the edge of Westland as being the edge of the water. So you're like, there's got to be sea out there. But we never really are told if it's a rocky area over there or what the deal is on the edge of Westland.
There's just the line. There's nothing there.
Yeah, it's the edge of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You fall off.
That's just it. That's where the universe stops. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows.
So in the center of the city on its own island, its own fucking island, is a giant ass palace, which, I guess that makes sense. They do have their own island after all.
Like a resort.
Yes. Connected to the land around it by roads and bridges. Verna says the city is called Tanamura.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah.
The river through it is the Kern, and the Palace of the Prophets sits on Hallsband Island. Get all that?
Yeah. You got to create a little map in your head.
I saw a post about this on Facebook just a couple of weeks ago. It may have been older, but somebody commented, so it brought it up to the top on the official Terry Goodkind Facebook page, and someone was like, look, we need to get this straight, okay? And they listed these right in a row. I was like, oh, shit. I guess I knew, but I always have trouble keeping them apart.
Well, it gets a little bit confusing, too, because in a second here, they describe one side of the city being, bordered by the Hagen Woods, and we know they just came out of Bakaban Mana territory. So if you look at the map, on SOTMapProject.com, I don't know, it's very difficult to see exactly where that's all laid out because it seems like such a small area of land that this all is, shoved into.
Yeah, and on the map, it's hard to get zoomed in close enough to where you could probably really see it. But yeah, no, it would be an area of woods next to the city, next to just nothing. Because the scary people live over there.
We don't go by the scary people. But Richard thinks that the name of that island has to be a sick joke because a hellsband is a collar used on hunting hawks. And Verna's like, nah, you're reading too far into it. I don't think he is.
No, I don't think he is either. In fact, because we talked about this just a little while ago, after we talked, I had the thought that, hey, these people, long time ago, even before the palace was constructed, okay, so this is totally a guess, but if they live surrounded by water and there are no bridges or roads yet, then how are you going to communicate with the outside world? Maybe, just maybe, they used hawks.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it was necessary.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's named after a collar, so Richard's like, fuck off.
But also, I think the implication with them being hunting hawks that he's talking about, like, you use the collars to help launch the hawks towards something, so it could go even deeper than that. Like, these boys in the collars are being trained to be these, like, weapons that you can launch at something if you need to.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at my stupid answer now, because I'm like, obviously it's that.
Your answer isn't stupid.
I was all like, hey, no, historically, maybe there's a reason for it to be named this. And you're like, no, it's because of something that happens in the book. Oh, yeah.
I just think it's funny that she totally acts like he has no idea what he's talking about, when it's very clearly like, oh, yeah.
Obviously that.
So as they travel, Richard noticed that there's a lot of land not farmed, and he asks her why. And this is what we were talking about a minute ago. On one side of the river, it's not safe to do so because of the threat from the Bakabamana and the Hagen Woods off to that one side. She warns him to stay out of there because a lot of people die in there, especially after the dark. But he feels like drawn to it. Now, we already know the Hagen Woods isn't a very awesome place to be, because we've seen some shit go down in the Hagen Woods.
Hard pass.
Yeah. So I guess it's not a shock to us that she warns him to stay the fuck out of there.
No, but I mean, I can also understand why Richard is attracted to it, because, like, he's a woods guy. That's his shit. Yeah, I'm better, actually, in the woods, away from all of you. I'll be fine out there.
Yeah, actually, the place they're going is kind of the antithesis of what Richard loves and wants to be around. Because they're going towards a giant-ass city full of people. And he likes to be in the woods. So, yeah, I can see that. So, once they get close to the city, it's a chaotic, dirty scene. And Verna had said a little bit ago that it looked like it always had from, like, super far away. But she didn't remember the squalor and the homelessness that she's seeing as she walks through it. Richard, however, thinks the people look happier than you would expect them to in, like, a poor, shitty situation.
They haven't realized how they're being screwed over yet. We find out why this is here in just a little bit. It's one of the main themes through the entire series. But, yeah, she does take it in stride when she comes back to town, and she's like, oh, things are, pretty much the same, but wow, it's all a little bit shitty, huh? And she was expecting it to not look like this then.
Yeah.
Was my takeaway. So she was like, behold, the city of Tanamura. And Richard's like, huh. That's, well, okay. Maybe the palace is better.
I do think that the note about the people being happier is just like, I don't know, that's kind of a theme. People, when they don't have a lot, can kind of appreciate things maybe a little bit more than people who end up with more.
Yeah, I think it's just saying that you don't need money to be happy.
Yeah.
Although, I would still prefer money.
Yeah, no, I like money. I like money. The farther into the city they get, the cleaner it is. The buildings are more spread out.
Shock.
Eventually, there's enough room for trees to line the road, and the buildings are fancy as fuck. They make their way on the bridge over the river and see soldiers patrolling both sides of it. So, like, they're definitely keeping people out or keeping people in somewhere.
Either way, heavy military presence.
Yes.
So, not a place people would generally flock to then.
Well, I probably would avoid it if I could.
That's all. Yeah. Unless you have to be there, I wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look good anyway. Like, obviously, it's not safe, or it's a very volatile area. You know? Like, something is wrong if you have to have military patrol.
Yeah, there's something going on for sure. Verna tries to gently ask Richard to be chill when he meets the rest of the sisters, because the arrival of a new one with a gift is the shit that these people live for. Richard tells her the old line from Kaylin about being only what we are, no more and no less. he's the bringer of fucking death, and he has nothing left to live for. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Verna must have known that was coming and just cringed the whole way through it. Because he's like, hey, we are what we are. And you know what I am? You know what I am, Verna? Verna, what am I? I'm the bringer of death.
Do you remember? I've only told you a couple times.
So I'm probably going to play that card pretty hard when we get in there, just to let you know I'm going to totally disregard everything you just said.
Yeah.
For sure.
So they make it to the stables of the palace, and the stable boys come to take the horses and all their stuff, but Richard's like, nah, this is mine. Please don't fucking touch. Thank you.
We take care of our own horses here, big guy. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, one of them tries to take Jessup from Verna, and he gets a little rough with him. He calls him a fucking name and whips him.
He whips him.
Yeah, it's not very cool.
No, again, I have experience with that. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I don't. Well, maybe a little bit, because...
I might have nipped you once.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why no whips in the house.
That's why no whips in the house. Hey, guys, there are no whips in the house.
No whips in the house.
Of any kind. And and there's a good reason for that. There really is.
Verna force slams this kid into a wall and then tells him he better not fucking do that again or he's going to be whipped and jobless. She then gives Jessup a little bit of love and takes care of him herself, which is like really nice to see. Obviously, she's bonded with this horse and it's not just something that Richard suggested that she still do. Like, this is on her now.
She gets it now.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, let's not be an asshole to the thing that literally carried me across 2 countries.
Right.
And it is a living, breathing thing. So cruelty shouldn't be applied.
Right. And now they trust each other. So there's a thing there.
I love how Richard didn't let Verna see him be like, fuck yeah, behind the other side of the horse.
He's like, got her.
Got one, yeah. I have made a conversion.
Now, to be fair, I don't think that kid's going to do that again. I would not.
Well, I've never been force pushed, but I would assume that hitting the wall the way he did would not feel very good. Plus, I mean, just because that happened, you know she's got magic and she could probably fuck you up.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I kind of feel like being force pushed would be, I don't know, a mixed sensation. Because I feel like being pushed in general, like, without, you're like floating. It's kind of cool. But then also you're out of control and then like the impact.
And then the wall, yeah. And let's be honest here. If present day Nate were faced with Verna, I could probably lip off to her and it would be like, whatever, if I had to give her an attitude, right? But 10-year-old Nate would not do the same thing.
No.
Again, if I was a child and Verna just didn't even use the force push thing, she just barked at you loud enough, Verna being who she is.
Oh, yeah.
Probably be like, yeah, I'm sorry. And that guy right there probably was about in that line of thought. She force pushed him for effect, but it probably wasn't necessary.
Plus, I feel like, I don't know, I try to imagine what everyone's opinion of Verna would be after all this time, because she's been, like, out fucking trekking for, like, 20 years, right?
Yeah. I actually wanted to make a correction, because in the last episode, I said she's probably, like, a middle-aged woman with a, she doesn't work out, or... That's absolutely false, because she literally just, like, cross-country trip. Walking, riding, camping, that takes a toll. She's probably in shape.
Yeah. And wait, no, they left...
Still middle-aged, though.
They left before Richard was born, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's been out trekking for like 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah, long-ass time.
So, I don't know, I just imagine people being like, she's gonna be tough as shit.
Well, that certainly comes through in her attitude, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does. I feel like if I saw her coming back to the palace, I'd be like, I'm going to be as kind as possible to her.
See that lady there? She's tough as nails. Do not fuck with her.
Do not. Especially because she's coming back alone, and that doesn't normally happen either.
Mm-hmm.
So she's also got double the Han, and she, like, killed one of her sisters, so... Yeah.
High eyebrows. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So